The biggest lie the fitness industry sells you if you want to get lean and jacked is that you need to train like a bodybuilder, spend 5 to 6 days a week in the gym plus cardio. It really doesn't need to be that complicated, and that is the main goal of my channel, to simplify diet and training for you, and that is exactly what I'm going to do in this video. I don't know how many times that I need to say this, because every single time that I do say it, more and more people seem to be spreading more and more information in the fitness industry, and sometimes we just need a constant kind of reminder, and I will continue to spread this message. I only train 3 days a week, 3 full body sessions a week, and I'm going to run you through exactly why I do it and why I made the switch to 3 days a week in the gym. And this is not a propaganda hit piece on bodybuilding. This is just me talking from a personal experience and what has worked for me. And if you go and try it and then it works for you, then that's absolutely perfect. When I was doing 5-6 days a week in the gym, I found I lost all excitement for it. I found I was just going through the motions a lot of the time when I was going into the gym. And at the end of the day, if you're not excited to go to the gym, if you're not excited to progress, if you're not excited to push forward, then you are going to start losing progress, and that's exactly what happened to me. I lost a lot of size in the space of 7 to 8 to 9 months. I was going to the gym 5-6 days a week, but I wasn't actually pushing myself because I wasn't enjoying myself at all. And I found once I made the switch down to full body 3 days a week that I got my excitement back for the gym. I train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so there's a gap in between each session, and then 2-day gap at the weekend. When I'm going into the gym, like I'm going to be training today, I'm excited to get into the gym. I'm excited to progress, and that's when I've really started to build muscle again. My recovery is 10 times better because I'm obviously not training as much. I am putting my body under a lot of kind of stimulus because I'm training hard. I'm doing 1 to 2 sets. The reason why I switched from going 5 days a week, it did impact my recovery, and I had to train with reps in reserve. And I'll be honest, I don't like training with reps in reserve. I know it's probably optimal to train 3 to 5 reps in reserve. I don't like it at all. And I'll be honest, I like going to the gym training like I've just had my heart broken. I like to go in, I'm going to war here every single set to failure. That's why I do 1 to 2 sets. That's just the way I enjoy training, and that's why I get the most out of it, which means I don't have to do as much time in the gym. 3 days a week, 1 to 2 sets, to complete failure. That is what works perfectly for me. So when it comes to progressing on all your exercises, in my opinion, I like to keep things very, very simple. The first one is adding weight, and the next one is adding reps. Yes, you can start adding sets and volume that way, but once you get to a certain point, I don't think it's very useful doing 5-6 sets. I think once you get past 1 to 2 sets, maybe even 3, if you are struggling, then it does become a bit of a pain in the ass, and you are going to struggle to recover from it, especially if you are training hard. And the way I work rep ranges is very, very simple as well. So I'll have a rep range usually around 6 to 12 reps. Some exercises I'll even go lower rep. I'll go 4 to kind of 6, especially on like the weighted pull-ups, the dips, where I can progressively overload a lot on weight. And I'll have a rep range for every single exercise. And once I get to the top of the rep range with the weight, that's when I then up the weight. And then when I up the weight, I go to the bottom of the rep range, and then I up the reps each week until I get to the top of the rep range again, and then I rinse and repeat that. You really do not need to overcomplicate everything when it comes to your progression. As long as you're getting stronger each session, that's all that really matters. And your form is kept standardized, so if you neglect form and start adding more weight, you're just gonna get injured, essentially. So now I'm gonna run you through exactly how I'd set up a full body session. So this is gonna look different for every individual person because everyone's got different muscle groups that they are trying to prioritize. For me, I started off with face pulls because rear delts is something that I want to bring up because I definitely neglected them for a good few years. And also, I've also neglected filming it because I thought no one wants to see me do face pulls, so I moved straight on to something else. So for muscles, it's always going to be, I'm trying to hit every single muscle. Maybe not directly every single muscle, but I'm trying to hit it maybe indirectly. So I'll always start off with a chest movement. Chest has always been a weak point for me, so I always start off with either a press or a fly. Today I'm going with an incline press. So what I'll do is I'll swap out with leg exercises to upper body to give my body a kind of a bit of a rest between the two. So I'll go from the chest and then I'll move on to kind of legs. So I'll go from a big movement for legs, which is going to be a leg press, and then I will then move on to an upper body exercise, which is going to be weighted chin-ups, which is obviously going to hit the back, and it's also going to help hit the biceps as well. So I don't have any direct bicep movement in this day. I'll have it later on in the week, but that's going to hit the biceps directly as well. And then we move on to another exercise. So we're going to be more hamstring focused. So we're going to focus on our lying hamstring curl. We'll do a hip hinge variation later in the week with the RDL. And then we're going to finish off with a little bit of shoulders, going to do some lateral raises, and then finishing off with a tricep push down. And then I'll obviously flip about with the arm exercises throughout the week. In the next one, I'll do a bicep exercise focused, and I'll do more tricep focused kind of press, whether it's a dip or it's going to be a close grip bench press later on in the week. But this is where your programming needs to be pretty decent in terms of training for recovery and making sure you're hitting each muscle group and you're not hitting it too much. If you hit your muscle group hard, like chest, 3 days a week, and you're doing it day after day or the day in between, the chances of it actually recovering, especially from like a heavy incline press, is not going to happen. So being able to really handle your recovery is going to be absolutely vital. And that's why I only do 1 to 2 sets per exercise, because I don't need to do 7 to 8 sets for my chest, because I'm spreading it out across the week and I'm making sure I'm taking every single set pretty much to complete failure. If I go to complete failure on a set, I'll only do 1 set. I don't feel the need to do another one. That's kind of the way I set up my full body sessions, and the other two are pretty similar, but they're just kind of opposite focused, so to make sure I'm hitting all the muscles from different angles. And if you want the perfect 3-day-a-week full body program, then click the link in the description and it'll take you straight to that and exactly what I do for 3 days a week in the gym. And I do want to make this kind of clear. I don't want everyone to just copy what I'm doing right now, because what I'm doing right now didn't build my physique. I didn't build my physique training 3 days a week. I was training 4 or 5 days a week. I was doing more sets per week. And yes, that will work in the short term. It definitely will work in the short term. That's how I got most of my results. But it gets to a certain point where you can't continue pushing on working harder. Working harder only really gets you so far. Then you've actually got to start thinking a little bit smarter, because once you start doing 1 to 2 sets and you start knowing how to train till failure, it becomes very, very hard to continue doing 10, 12, 15 sets going to failure. Yes, if you're doing a little bit less intensity and you're going reps and kind of in reserve, then you might be able to get away with going 4 or 5 days a week. But in my opinion, it's very, very personal preference. I think you should try a load of different things and see what kind of works. If you prefer going in, doing 2 to 3 reps in reserve, and you prefer going to the gym a lot more and you don't get bored and you get excited every single time you go to the gym, then work away. But if you don't, and you don't want to spend your life in the gym, then I would definitely recommend trying 3 days a week, going to failure on pretty much every single exercise. But like I said, as long as you enjoy what you're doing and you're training hard, then no one can tell you what you're doing is right and no one can tell you what you're doing is wrong. Because if you're not seeing progress, that's when I would say maybe you should make a change. But if you're making progress and you're happy with the way things are going, then the famous old saying, if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. But I'm just really trying to nail down that you really don't have to do that much. If you're someone that's really, really busy, or someone says, I haven't got time for the gym, you have got time to squeeze in. You can even do 2 days a week and squeeze 2 45-minute sessions in a week. I guarantee every single person can do that. And I'm just here to kind of prove that I've done the working really, really hard and like kind of forcing yourself to grow, and then I've kind of moved on to the side, and it's a lot more enjoyable, and 2, a lot less time spent in the gym, which also means you can go and do anything else. You can spend your time doing anything else in life. You can go and enjoy your life, and you're able to enjoy things a lot more because you're not constantly thinking, when's my next gym? Oh, I've got to go to the gym today. In law of averages, you're going to have sessions where you don't want to do and it's going to be a bit shit. You're going to get more of them the more sessions that you do. So the more times you're going in and having a shit session, and in my opinion, if you're going in and having a shit session, and that happens 2 or 3 times in the space of like 2 or 3 weeks, in my opinion, you don't even need being in the gym if you're constantly having bad sessions. When I'm in now in 3 days a week, I'm constantly having good sessions every single time I'm in the gym, because I'm driven, I'm motivated to go into the gym. Some people are driven and motivated to go into the gym every single day, and you actually have to pull them back. Like I've had clients like that where I've had to pull them back. I want to go to the gym 7 days a week, and they're all excited. They're in the beginning phase, they're all excited, yeah. But then once you kind of, this is a long game. I've been in this for 6 years, and I hope to be in this for a lot longer, into 10, 15 years. And I want to enjoy it as long as possible, and I want to make them gains for as long as possible. I don't want to make all of my gains in the first kind of 5 years and then just be capped. I know it's, once you get past like 4 or 5 years, you do struggle to kind of put on size, but I do enjoy that kind of slow progress every single time going to the gym, doing an extra rep, adding a little bit of weight in there. It makes it a lot more exciting. That's another reason why I made the switch to 3 days a week. If you are bored of your training, if you are not enjoying your training at the minute, then I would guarantee if you made the switch, you would then enjoy it. Even if you don't enjoy it, you can then go back and try something else. I think everyone should be learning, making mistakes and trying to find something new. And then they'll be able to find out which split and which kind of exercise routine works for them. And hopefully you find that video useful. Click like, click subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.